Let's do that again. Hey everyone, it's Tafony here. Today's Rambling About is going to be on the Strymon Starlab, an absolute beast of a reverb for Eurorack. Disclaimer first, I'm no reverb expert, I'm no Strymon expert, and I am discovering the Starlab for the first time today along with you. So let's explore it. The disclaimer as well, I am borrowing this one once again from our Euro pal Marius, who is kind enough to lend me this beast. It's not sponsored or anything. I have no affiliation with Strymon or anybody at all. So, without further ado, this is what it sounds like. Okay, so Starlab is interesting in a few ways. I'm going to give you some random anecdotes before I start going over the panel. Starlab is pretty big, and it is very deep, not only in the learning sense, but it's also deep in the case sense, or in the module depth sense. I think that there's like 6 PCBs on board, and there's, without showing you here, there's like vertically mounted ones on the side. So the case that I wanted to put it in, the ALM 52 that I keep all my recording, my XLR, my microphone stuff in, it actually doesn't fit because it's too deep. So it's in the IntelliGel palette today, which shout out to the palette, because that thing can fit an amazing amount of or it can fit surprisingly deep modules within it, because yeah, it may be the smallest Eurorack case, but it can fit some of the deepest modules. So yeah, Starlab is in there today. One weird thing I noticed right off the bat is inputs on the left and outputs on the left again. Just seems a little odd to me. It doesn't really matter, but yeah, when I was patching this in, I'm like, but you know, if there's vertically mounted PCBs, maybe the analog IOL had to be on the one that's perpendicular on that side. So anyway, doesn't matter, but just something I thought I'd point out that I noticed. So one thing that's also unique about the Starlab, going over the panel now, this is our dry sound. I'm going to try and send it some staccato drum sounds so you can hear the decay, right? So in my initial patch when I was playing around with this last night, I was sending it like, I like to do like high BPM drum, almost making your own break sort of deal. But I thought it sounded really messy, and then I'm thinking about it after. It's like, yeah, like if you have a really dense reverb and you send it a million sounds, then it's going to just kind of get messy. So let's try and do this. So that's the dry sound. Now what's unique about the Starlab is there isn't a dry-wet mix. There are separate controls for the dry and the wet. So I have control over the dry volume. And I have control over the wet volume. So yeah, that's a pretty straight up reverb, and I'm trying to do like, I couldn't find a knit patch, but let's try and do like the most straightforward thing we can right now. So we're not using any of the shimmer, we're not using any of the glimmer, none of the feedback and the delay stuff. I'm not filtering it in any way, I don't think. No. Oh, well. that's as unfiltered as I think you're able to get it. So let's go over the big, I'm going to call them macro knobs. They don't call them macro knobs. So what I think of is like the macro switches. So we have a mono source going in and a stereo source going out. And the macro control is the texture control. So right now we are in the dense mode, which is the middle switch. They describe dense as a plate-like reverb with a fast response and dense reflections that can venture into ambient territory at high decay times. So it sounds like this. And real quick, I'm just going to make it like way more wet than you would probably want to do it in context, just because I want you to be able to hear it. So let's hear that. You can play with the decay knob now. Let's drown it. Shorten that out. Make it a little drier. When you get into those really short decays where it almost sounds like a delay because it's like slapping back one time, you gotta like blend that in really lightly or else it sounds like this stuttery thing, right? So bring that down. Just no dry. It's almost cool. Well, that is cool. That's almost usable is what I meant to say. Cool. So that's the dense mode. Let's get into the first mode, which is the sparse mode, which they refer to as, we're just hearing dry right now, they refer to it as a granular sounding reverb that can create interesting effects with staccato inputs or produce clean reverb with sustained inputs. So let's hear staccato inputs right now from the drums. Bring it in. And then, so just because it asked for this, I'm going to jump ahead here and bring in some synth drone. Hold on, let's not give it our CD. They just hear drone. So they said, produce a clean reverb with sustained input. So here's a drone. Really nice. Just the reverb. Some of these it sounds like you don't even need the dry mix, right? Nope, we're gonna get feedback though. Bring that decay down. So yeah, that's the sparse input. Let's do the diffuse. Bring in our dry. Let's go back to the drums. Bring in some of that reverb. So they describe this as a slow building atmospheric wash that excels at ambient, swell, and even reverse-like textures. Let's hear it. That sounds to me like you should crank the decay. Now there's input gain, and from the looks of it, it seems like it's like clipping, right? So even if I turn it all the way down, oh, there's a little green there. Is my signal really hot? So is this one. Okay, well, we'll get to that in a sec. If we turn off our dry in and just do the wet, shorten that decay. If we crank that input gain, oh, crunchy. So yeah, that's the three quote-unquote macro modes. Now, there is a bit of, here, let's bring the gain up a hair. I just feel like I'm way too quiet right now, but then it doesn't sound wrong, right? There's the, this doesn't affect the dry, I don't think. So here's dry, crank the input gain, no, it doesn't affect the dry. So crank that up, take off our dry, put on the wet. to me, actually. So the light would tell me that it's clipping, but the sound tells me more is more. Okay. Let's get out of that part. So let's get out of there now. So let's go to the dense mode right now, and we'll bring in the dry and the wet. Get some decay. Now there's the pitch knob, which you'll see it's like a time/pitch, so it is adjusting the time by virtue of, sorry, it's adjusting the pitch by virtue of changing the time. So if you make the delay time shorter, it's going to pitch up. So you have more wetness to that. Shorter decay, all wet. There's also volt per octave tracking. I'm not going to get into that with this one, but yeah, just know that there's some movement to be had in this part, so. Different modes, different pitches. Sparse mode. It's really delay-esque, eh? Yeah, sounds really nice. Let's do that drum. Okay, I had some reservations before, but that might sell me on it. Last one is the diffuse. Sounds like this. Now, I think this is a good time to go into the LFO section. So you can do, it has onboard LFO, and you can control it. I'm going to patch in a clock. So there's an LFO clock in here. I'm going to send it a clock so it's in sync with my drum beat and my sequence. And what we want to do is bring in some depth and select the destination. So we're just talking about pitch, so I'm going to start with pitch. We're going to do LFO to the pitch. Now I'm doing, it's technically a triangle, I think, but when I think LFOs, I think sine waves. I don't know. It doesn't really make much of a difference. Let's bring in some speed. And I think this makes the speed, when it's clocked, is clock division. So bring in the depth, and you'll hear the pitch start to go. Bring back some depth. Bring in our speed. If we slow it down, it'll be different divisions. Pulses instead. Do different wave shapes. Random. Envelope. So I think this follows the shape of the decay amplitude. Yeah, so you hear the pitch is almost like the pitch is pumping the same way, which is really cool. I like that. Yeah, I like that. Cool. And then there's different destinations. There's the delay Now, we haven't gone over the delay yet, but we haven't gone over the filter either. So you know what? Before I get into doing those ways, let's put this back into dense mode. Bring up the decay so we can drone y'all out. Switch to the synth. Just to give you some nice ear candy to hear in the background, I think. So Starlab features a delay/Karplus section that provides pre-delay and traditional delay effects, along with a Karplus-Strong mode, which provides a delay-based monophonic string synthesizer. Whoa. Okay. So delay and tune. Delay and tune. It says adjust pre-delay for delay when echo on is engaged. So echo on is engaged. Let's hear what that sounds like. Now, I do want to send a tap. Oh, I'm already sending a tap, so we don't need to worry about that. Bring that in. Switch back to our drums so we can actually hear it. Yeah, that's got rhythmic delays going. That's cool. Turn that up a bit so y'all can hear. Very cool. Yeah, and then feedback is amount of regen, so you can get it to like swell crazy time. Let's crank that up. Be cool if you had a CV source that you could hold that and just have it, or even perform it with the knob, you know? Starlab can do a lot, man, I'm telling you. Okay, let's turn that off for a second. And then our echo on. There is buttons here that do... You can actually do a like reverbless delay only by setting the decay to like minimum and having the delay on enabled. We won't go over that today, but yeah, there's like endless... The sky's limit or whatever star pun you got. Karplus-Strong mode, the monophonic delay-based string synthesizer, which can be plucked or bowed like a string. Okay, to enter Karplus-Strong mode, hold the echo on button and turn the delay tune knob clockwise until the tap knob turns red. So we're going to hold that. I'm going to try and do this so you can see. Hold the tap button. Now it's red. We're in Karplus-Strong mode. Okay, so it's indicated by being red. So let's hear it. Okay. Feedback affects the string decay. Try this with our drone instead. Maybe a little bit of both, maybe. Let's try with our drone. Very cool. Can we modulate our pitch? Oh man. Yes. Okay, let's get out of here before I have too much fun. Back into delay mode. Yeah, echo on. Yeah, like a little bit of pre-delay. It just gives it that oomph, you know? Okay, so that's the delay and Karplus section. It gets really deep. I hopefully covered enough of it for you today. Shimmer and reverb section. I love shimmer reverb. So shimmer adds pitch shifting to the reverberated signal if the effect is off when the shimmer knob is fully counterclockwise. So it is off right now. Let's bring in some shimmer. I'm not really hearing much, and I had the same issue yesterday. Bringing it in doesn't seem to do much. Oh, so let's try a different interval. So the secondary effect here is holding it down and turning it. Just crank it up. Okay. I guess, so you can send it CV here. I'm not going to do that today because we're just doing drums, but yeah. Okay, there's the shimmer with the drone. Yes. Maybe it was at a weird interval before. It was just detuned, maybe? So yeah, love shimmer. Now it's here. Back to our drone, because that seemed to make it easier to demo. Now let's hear a little bit of the glimmer on its own. So the glimmer dynamically enhances aspects of the input signal on the harmonic spectrum. Effect is off when the glimmer knob is fully counterclockwise. So it's off right now. Let's bring it in. So right now, because the green light is on, it's only affecting the high band. If we click it, it's going to do all of the spectrum. So the low end is, yeah. Shimmer on top. This is what I'm looking for in a reverb. Yeah. Okay. And then there is filter. So I think it's best to demonstrate this on this crazy drone. It's more straightforward than the other stuff. There's the low damp. Let's bring in the reverb only right now. Low dampening, so now it sounds almost like high passes cutting in. And then high dampening. Almost sounds like a low pass filter. That actually sounds nice too. Oh man. You can do both. So if you want like your reverb to be really like EQ'd out almost, that's what you want. Which in this context, mixing in the dry, it sounds really appropriate. Go drums. Like it's really dull. Like you can, this is a really like nuts patch, but if you bring in some filtering, it's like useful. Yeah, I like that. So low pass filter now. So it's just like straight up low passes for two bands. So there's the high. Filter out the highs. Filter out the lows. Yeah, very cool. I think I like the damp more. But yeah, very cool. So sick. And I went over the LFO section before, so I won't go over it again, but yeah, what can you say about the Strymon Starlab? It's an LFO to LFO to the high dampening. Shimmeriness already going. Like an added shimmer, right? Drums. So sick. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot else on board here that I'm not going to cover. There's CV control over damn near everything. There's you can turn the echo on and off over CV. You can adjust the feedback over CV. You can do everything. There's there's volt per octave pitch changes. There is CV control. There's a whole favorite section. There's CV control over the favorites. If you like to I know that's lots of modules love to do the preset jumping over CV is a really cool feature that can get like super crazy. I don't know. Starlab is the deepest reverb for Eurorack. It sounds great. Yeah. Trying to think. The downsides are it's really big, it's really expensive, it's really deep in size and in what it can do, but it's so powerful and sounds so good in the right spots. Oh man, does it sound good. Yeah. Strymon Starlab. So sick. All right. My name's Tafony. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.